Good afternoon. Sorry, I'm just fiddling about trying to add a little bit of light because it just struck me that it's starting to look a little bit overcast and dull. We've got rainy stuff going on here. Welcome back to live number whatever we're on now, 5, 4th live demonstration I think, 5 with the catalogue walkthrough. So this session we're going to be looking at the In Good Taste suite. Couldn't find my catalogue then, I'd buried it. So here is the In Good Taste suite. Now, in terms of the number of products listed in this suite, it probably looks about the smallest, but it does have a mega paper pack, and we're going to look at that in just a second. So we get a fabulous pack of paper that we will go through. There's also a stamp set and dies. Now, I've not used the stamp set at all, so that will be good fun. Not because I don't love it, because I do love it and it's really quite up my street. I just haven't got round to starting playing with it. But the dies that go with it, I've used a lot. So the Tasteful Touches, it's one of those stamp sets that you get lots and lots of little elements of things. So you've got a Hi Emma and Beryl, you've got this beautiful flower, you've got a feather, you've got this greenery just here, and then you've got these sort of little bits just here that just add in a little bit underneath something or to the side of something, or you can build patterns up with them, or just useful little stamps for adding a little bit of extra depth and dimension to your projects, and just really lovely. Beautiful fonts. Just saying hello, you are so special. The good things in life are better with you. So a really beautiful curly font just there, just stunning. And then You Are the Best, which is a much more of a sort of standard typeface type font. And you could cut that up nicely into little pieces and use them separately. Yeah, so really nice stamp set. Lots of uses for it. Use it on its own to create a whole project, but really useful for adding little bits into other projects. So really useful. And this die set I have actually used quite a lot. I've used these little dies on quite a few projects just recently. Really useful. We dug one out just an hour or so ago to make that little vellum circle that's sort of stitched and scalloped. Just gorgeous. And because it's a double one, the hole that was left behind would also be stitched and scalloped, and it's the same with all of these. These are all sort of double stitched. This one has the cut line, and then this one embosses around the edge. And this is double stitched. These two are embossed as well. So yeah, really nice, and really nice shaped labels there. And one I think we will dip into time and time and again because it just is so useful. Something I've seen other people do, and I think I will get round to doing, is they'll cut small swatches of card and cut the labels out and have it on sort of like a ring, so that if you've got a greeting and you can't quite decide what label you want to use with it, you can just get out your swatch and sort of decide which one matches before you reach for your punch or reach for your die cutting machine. So that's something to go ahead and do, but really useful for all sorts of things. You've got like your little double ended banner there, as well as this big banner. Yeah, incredibly useful. And as I say, I've used that a lot already. I'll go through the papers last. I'll come to those last. This is the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. I've certainly used this on something as well. Can't think what. But it just gives that sort of sense of a piece of fabric almost to a piece of card. Really lovely. So you can not just card, but designer series paper, you can run through that as well. And then you get these little In Good Taste elements and these are really lovely. So you get, when I can get them to come out, you get 3 sheets of these ones, which are like, well, they could be feathers, they could be leaves, it's entirely up to you. And you just want to really gently push those out, because if you're not gentle, they could snap. Let's take one out. We'll put it on our foam pad and we'll just gently press. This one is a little bit more delicate. If they do snap, you can always stick them together, stick the 2 parts together when you come to glue them onto your projects. But the one side is just like this smooth finish, and the other side you can see this has got like some sort of detail on it as well. So really lovely. A smooth side and a more detailed side. Those are lovely. So you get 3 of those, and then you get 1 sheet with like these, and depending on what side you have, it will depend on what colours. This is where the laser's been used to cut the shapes out. It sort of gives like this, almost like burn marks, but actually they're really lovely. So these are a plain one, and then on this side you've got that detail. Just really nice little elements, a different sort of texture, and that's what this suite is all about really, is just those little design features, those little textured design features. Let's just pop those in there. We'll hopefully get round to using one of those on one of our projects. So let me dig in the paper. Now, as I say, it is a bumper pack of paper, and you actually get 24 sheets. Let me just go to the paper and make sure I'm not telling you any fibs. So In Good Taste Designer Series paper, photographic images, and that is very true. It is really quite photographic quality, and these papers, you do feel as if you should be able to run your hands over them and feel the texture. Obviously you can't, it is just paper, but it looks as if it should be bumpy. Hello Caroline. And you get walls and tiles and all sorts of things. So not a pretty paper, not a paper that you're going to look through and go, oh, that's really pretty, but an incredibly useful one for backgrounds. I mean, look at this, it just, you can almost see the feel, it almost looks as if you should be able to feel those layers that are on there. Look at this beautiful tiled effect, isn't it gorgeous? They just are lovely. That should feel woolly. Just looking at that, it ought to feel woolly, but it doesn't. So, and these little tiles just here. So these textures have been photographed, sort of like this waffle stitch. They've been photographed and then turned into, the graphic designers have turned them into papers. Look at that. That should be really woolly under your feet, shouldn't it? Sort of like a woolen rug. So all of those beautiful papers, you get 24 sheets in there, and whereas in the past we've had bumper packs of paper with lots of paper in, but it's been a thinner paper, this isn't. This is our standard quality paper. So you get 24 sheets, you get 2 each of 12 double-sided designs. It's 12 by 12 paper. So it is £20 as opposed to the £10.75 that a pack of paper normally is. But obviously that is double the amount of paper, but not double the price. The other thing this paper pack is incredibly useful for is if you, in fact I've got a sheet here, if you take photographs of anything, so like when I come to photograph my my cards, makes fabulous backgrounds for your photographs. So if you're photographing cards or jewellery or anything, if you want to set up photographs that you're going to then post on Instagram or whatever, brilliant background papers for your photographs. So I'm sure that you will be, if you look out, spotting sheets of that appearing in my photographs on social media in the future. really great because I've already said I think I need 2 packs, one to use as photograph backgrounds and one to use for cards and things. So we've already had a bit of it's already appeared in some projects that we've looked at today. This was the jar this morning, so that this background just here is one of these background papers. On this daisy card, this background here, on the shaker card that we did yesterday on yesterday's Facebook Live, I've cut the base of the globe out of a piece of the wood effect paper, and then I've put clear embossing powder on it to give it that varnished look. So already that paper has been appearing in things that we've been playing with. So a really lovely pack. So let's just move this out of one side for now. Page 122. I'll flick back to it just in case we need to look at it. Have a quick look at some of the samples. This is really pretty here, these where that label has been used to cut an aperture, and these are the banners. Those are really nice, aren't they? Just gorgeous. Just the strips of paper, look. Strips of paper, a label cut from vellum with a greeting stuck on, and a few of those little wooden elements. The background is textured, so I don't know whether you can see that, but the background on there is using the textured embossing folder. But really simple, but really effective. You've got your leaves here. So, yep, it's going to be a really useful little stamp set, certainly an incredibly useful set of dies. So what shall we play? I've got here, I've sort of picked out a couple of different colourways, some card and paper, a couple of very different colourways actually. The paper that I'd got in my mind when I picked those out was that, not the big tile, let me find it, this one here. So on one side you've got this sort of upholstery fabric almost. Looks like it could almost be like a car upholstery fabric. And then on the other side, you've got this really nice sort of kitchen floor tiles, perhaps. Beautiful. So I thought we'd do something with that to start with. Now, I've picked out a few colours. I've got some early espresso there, and some grey granite, and a bit of night of navy. I don't know whether I should want all of those, but that was my starting point. I'm going to start with a night of navy card, not night of navy, an early espresso card base. Hi Sally, Sarah, Div and Wendy. Hi Wendy, have you finished work? Are you back to join us? Lots to catch up on. I'm sitting here with my foot up on a cushion, and I had my doing my gardening the other day. I got some really nasty bites, and it keeps making my foot swell up when I stand on it for any great length of time. And obviously I've been standing for quite a while today, so I thought I would sit down. So I'm trying very hard to keep an eye on your comments. I know what I haven't done. Let's see if we can get our laptop to play ball. Right, so we've got our background paper, and we've got our background, our card, our early espresso card base. We've got our night of navy card mat there. I'm thinking I'm going to cut this at 13.9. And then at 9.5. So it brings those blues and browns in together. And I'm going to gut the centre of this piece of paper. So that I've got that to use on another occasion. I could have, if I've got a bit more time, have sorry, I'm thinking to myself. If I'd got a bit more time, I could have actually gutted that to size, but I'm just cutting this down a centimetre each way, so it's 12.9 by 8.5, so we can see quite a nice border of that coming in the background there. So that's those papers layering up quite nicely. I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to cut I think I'm going to have the good things in life are better with you. I think that will fit nicely in that die just there. So we will cut that out of the centre of this light and navy card. I found my die that went flying, so if any of you were in on the last live and my little leaf die went flying off across the conservatory, I did find that. Haven't found the little leaf that went missing though. That still is remaining aloof and distant. So you can see with these dies how you get the lovely stitched effect around the outside of the gap as well. So if you were using that as a frame, you've got that nice detail around the outside of the aperture. This coming in here. Now we need to stamp this greeting. Now I'm thinking, let me get my label for it. Oh, come here. Pop that on there like that. good things in life are better with you. Sarah, how lovely to catch up with you. I've been going live all day today, so if you're on at all today, you'd have a job to miss me. We've been in and out all day. Everybody will be saying, when is that woman going to stop going live? So, but we're all fine, thank you. Hope you are all well too. Doing okay. Let's move this grey granite out from underneath here. I'm going to give that a swoosh. Now the embossing buddies are no longer available. We no longer stock embossing buddies. Everybody say, ah. But I'm still going to be using mine. They are widely available. They weren't an exclusive, only able to get from Stampin' Up product at all. So just because we don't get them doesn't mean we haven't got them, doesn't mean they're not still available to purchase from somewhere out there. Right, so we're going to do this in Versamark. Here comes the rain again, and we'll sprinkle that with some white embossing powder, and that will pop quite nicely then, hopefully. Oh, made a mess of that look, Helen. You've got a whole line going down there. Let's sort that out. There we are. And heat gun. Oh, lamp doing a nosedive. Multitasking. Eating my embossing powder and drinking my tea. Oh, come back. There we go, looking quite good. To come back to my stamp set and to this little set of squares. And where's my stickers? Just here. Let's peel the back off of that label. There we go. And I'm going to take my Night of Navy because I don't want it in your face. I just want some stamping. So just a bit of texture going on the background there. We'll have just a smidge showing at the top there. That's it. a look what we've got in terms of ribbon. Now we could go in actually with this nice faux suede ribbon that comes out of the World of Good suite. That would work quite nicely there. And I think we'll just have a sort of strip of it running across the back. Let me tidy that end up a bit. Right, I'm going to stick this together so that you can see that this is another suite that's really quite good for masculine cards. But they're not all masculine card papers. I mean, there is that pink one that we used with the daisy. That's really pretty feminine sort of pink. You could almost use that for a baby card. That would be lovely. And actually this one you could really pretty up as well. So they don't have to be masculine cards, but they do, but they can be. And it's always useful to have things in your craft room like that you can swap and change around. Facebook's going to be wondering what I'm up to today, isn't it? It's going to be like, what on earth? They haven't banned me yet though. Perhaps I shouldn't say that out loud. So I'm assured that the thing that Facebook want more than anything is for people to stay on Facebook. So they like content that's going to keep people on Facebook. And I've kept you on Facebook all day. So, or potentially. So hopefully that won't get me in trouble. Just realised I hadn't shared this across. And I have, of course, gone in different places. I managed to go live with one of my lives on my personal Facebook page. So that came as quite a surprise to a few people on my Facebook. That were going, what is she doing? I did wonder why a few names had suddenly popped up that I was surprised to see on my business page. It shares the love. Some people might go, I had no idea she did that. I'll go and find her. You never know. Right, so we'll put our little label on there. And I think we'll come into our little wooden embellishments. I'm just going to pop one out, a few of these out, and add them in on here. And again, it's a so we've got a sense of texture with our stamping on that little label. These are adding a real texture by adding in that wooden embellishment, and we could colour those with stamping blends or ink them. I think we're nearly at the end of this thing of glue dots. And just there. There. So that's mainly using the papers and one of those lovely dies. So let's go for something a bit different and a completely different colourway. Let me put the lid on my embossing powder. And clean up these stamps. So there we are. We didn't use the suede ribbon when we were doing the World of Good suite, but we've used it now. And we didn't go down the grey granite route with this card, but we just stuck with those two colours. But lovely. We'd obviously need an inner inside there because it's a dark card. But we'll sort those out anon and on. We'll concentrate on the fronts for now. So what's next? Oh, we're going to need to try and use our Tasteful Textures embossing folder. There's our labels for our stamps. Okay, next up, so for a real change of colour, I've got some Very Vanilla, some Blackberry Bliss and some Rich Raspberry. And I've got a Rich Raspberry and a Blackberry Bliss stamp pad. That's the word. Words are now becoming quite difficult. You'll be pleased to know I'm not in charge of cooking dinner today. That's Mike's job. He has said that he will be responsible for that today. Probably because I said to him at the beginning of the week, Wednesday, don't know what we're doing for dinner, but don't look at me. I'm not going to have time to even think about that. Blackberry Bliss, 14.9, scored at 10.5 to make a standard card base. I'm then going to cut a piece of Very Vanilla, and I'm going to cut that at 14.4 by 10. I'm going to run that through this embossing folder. Now this is a 3D one, so I'll need my blue plate for this one, as it's a new style Stampin' Up 3D folder. And can you see all the texture then in that cardstock? They're really lovely, and it feels nice as well. Now I'm going to reach over and grab the Regal's sponges, and we'll get the Rich Raspberry one. And let's add in these little bits you get. It's where the ink's dried on the sponges. It just knocks off. and they've been standing for a little while. So I'm not doing this very hard. It is a bit of a tickle, just to add in some colour around the edge there, and that just helps that texture to pop as well. And then I'm going to take a piece of rich raspberry cardstock, and I'm going to bring that in. What was that? 14.4. I'm going to bring this in a centimetre, so we'll make it 13.4 by 9. Again, I could have gutted the centre of that bit of card, but I won't right now. I'm then going to take this label just here and a bit of Blackberry Bliss again, I think. Let me just dig about and see if I've got a large enough oddment of Blackberry Bliss. Look at that, perfect. Let's take our blue embossing plate out, bring in our machine, and can you see around the edge there where you've got that embossed edge now? So it's not stitched, this one, but it is embossed. You'll have that in the centre there. What I'm going to do with some of this paper, I'm going to get my stamp set, and I'm going to get the big flower. Let's pop the label on it. And I'm going to take some Blackberry Bliss ink. Just wondering if this is a distinctive stamp, but it's not. It just is another of these very beautiful detailed stamps. Lovely, lovely. I'm going to take a fairly dry aqua painter. And just come round the flower. You don't have to use the back of your hand like I do. You don't have to have multicoloured hands if you don't want to. Piece of kitchen towel or your simply chamois would work just as well. Actually, we could do with a little bit of let's grab crushed curry, I think, just to come in the middle there a bit. It's a beautiful stamp. So obviously that I'm going to dab that one on rather than paint it on. There we go. So let's snip those out. Fairly easy shape to cut round. And because we're cutting round it doesn't matter if we've taken the colour over the edge when we've dragged that colour out. And if we haven't quite taken it to the edge, it gives it a bit of a highlight. It's all good. There's one. Isn't that lovely? Hi Hilary. Hi Em. Hi Francis. My little cat next door, or from wherever he's from, he's back. He's not got a mouse or anything this time. I'm not sure what it was he'd caught this morning. I think it was possibly a mouse. He was very pleased with himself anyway. So we've cleaned that stamp up. I'm going to shut the Blackberry Bliss for a moment and have a look at my card, and I'm going to take this sort of florally sort of texture stamp. Now let's get that the right way round. And I'm going to take the Rich Raspberry ink, and I want that to come out from about where our label, so let's just pop that to one side for a minute. So we know our label is coming in the middle here, so we'll have one about there, just in the background. And I'll swing this one round. That coming down here, again just in the background. So that's just a little tone on tone hint of things happening in the background there. And then I'm going to take this greenery and I'm going to come back in with my embossing buddy. And the Versamark ink. I'm going to have one there. And one here, and this time I've got gold. Now I'm sure where that overlaps in the middle it's going to look a bit odd, but that's okay because we're putting our label over there. So we're just sort of layering up these stamps, putting on different textures and things. So heat emboss that, have that coming on in some gold coming out there. It's actually picked up a little bit on there, but that's not a problem. I quite like that. So you can see how this is all starting to build up. I'm going to go back to that gold thread. I can see me using a lot of this gold thread. And I'm going to tie a big bow with it. Probably doesn't need to be quite that big. I like the fact that it frays as well. So when that's finished, I want it so that it sort of comes here and here across the back of that label. So what we will do is we will just tie that tight, have it wisping across, bring in a bit of tear and tape. That's because the thing's gone on the floor, it's pulling on it. So let's just tap that down in the middle there, so it's not going anywhere. Hang on to that bit and probably use that for something else. That was a little bit extravagant. So we just want then a greeting or something on our label. What have we got? Will that just saying hello fit on there? We've not got the flowers on, so we can put the flowers around the edge. Can't see my oh, what am I doing? Looking for my labels. I need the stamp. I've got the labels. Oh dear. What was I saying about having got this far in the day without the aid of chocolate or biscuits? Perhaps I'm starting to need them. What do you think? In need of a sugar rush. That slipped slightly, so I'm just going to trim that off a little bit. So I'm going to take this, come in with our embossing body again, and our Versamark, and our gold. And we want our just saying hello. To be this side. And sprinkle on some powder. That's not a bad shot. Let's heat that up. Right, let's get some dimensionals. Ooh, it's stuck to the paper. Come here. I'll just pop big dimensionals on there. And use that. You can hear the wheelie bin being trundled up the drive. That means Mike's home. We'll have these sitting on there. So again, I think I'll pop those up. On some dimensionals. Let's just curl that round a little bit, give it a bit of shape. Like that. Put the rich raspberry onto our textured berry vanilla and our textured berry vanilla onto our blackberry bliss. And there. We've got that texture going on in the background there, and some embossing and some twine and those beautiful flowers and those lovely labels. So definitely two very different cards, but using the same bundle. I think I'm in love with that bundle. Let me know what you think.